Hey, Darren Wiener here. So, here today we'll see how to create a podcast that blew your mind away in minutes. Okay. I would show you a workflow, an original way of creating content. So, step one, we need an ID, right? In the example I will show you, the ID is fecund nihilism. This is for a mindset project that actually I put on hold for focus reasons because I have some more important project I need to focus on. So I just pause it, let's say. But anyway, the resource here is me. Okay. Alternatively, if you have no ID, you can brainstorm with an AI assistant, of course. Okay. So first we got the ID. This one, fecund nihilism. Now step two, it's expand the ID. Okay. We need to put some material here, some meat here. So the resource here is my Hydra, my fun buddy. This is my AI assistant that I created for fun. It has several personalities. As a matter of fact, these personalities are really relevant to create content because they give different angles. Okay. So let's see. This is here, my fun buddy. So this is my chat with it. So basically, I say that I'd like to create short content about this fecund nihilism, giving some core idea about the fecund nihilism, like how to apply emptiness as an ultra powerful way to focus, to get creativity, productivity, etc. And then I triggered the way I framed the prompt. I triggered one personality of the Hydra, which is the fortune cookie philosopher, who is basically a personality that will create, this cosmic mindfulness theory and philosophy on concepts. But as a matter of fact, it's really effective to create really crazy ideas. Okay. So I won't enter into the details, but it developed the idea and then offered some additional way to explore. And I said, yes, do it. And then at some point, I had my cookie fortune teller coverage of the content, let's say, a version of the content. And then I asked the other personality of my Hydra, which is contrarian, okay, which is basically destroy what the fortune cookie teller just said. Okay. And so it just destroyed everything that the previous person has said, which is here. I won't enter into detail. Once again, it's not the purpose of this video. But then at some points, it made a case against the previous thesis, fecund nihilism, basically saying it's bullshit. And then I played a trick here. I said, okay, but I would like to highlight that you just practice nihilism by annihilating my theory to create a new one. Okay. I played a trick here. It's a logical trick, whatever. And then it's interesting because he admitted that my counter argument was good. And so it completely shifted and then drove the conversation in a totally different way, which is a more productive way. And then it went deeper, whatever. I just use basic Hegelian dialectic here to push it to create more ideas, basically. Okay, whatever. And then I just played with it and I asked it to create a framework based on the new thesis, the new way, the new counter argument. And you create the framework. Here it's the productive dialectic shift, which is actually a good framework. Okay. Several steps to apply this fecund nihilism to every aspect of your life. Okay. Actually, this shit is working. But by the way, side note here. Okay. So I was happy with this. And that's it. So now we have the content material. Okay. Here we have expanded the ID using a original method, which is using my friend, my Hydra fun buddy, AI assistant. So now we will do what? Step 3, we will turn the conversation that I just had with Hydra, my fun buddy, into a podcast. And to do this, we will use Notebook LM. And what I did, I just selected the whole conversation and pasted bluntly in the Notion Notebook LM tool. Okay. Which is, if you check, it's here, the PDF. Here it's okay, let's forget the resume. But here it's just a conversation I just had with Hydra GPT. Okay. Hydra GPT that I use in Claude, by the way. It's a Claude project. But I have the same in ChatGPT, by the way. Okay. Side note here. No, not very important. And then I can create a podcast where there are two characters just debating about the discussion I had with my GPT. Okay. Actually, that's the podcast. So now I need to create a podcast. So to create a podcast, I go on Creator Spotify here. And actually, there is no intent here. I had no podcast, nothing. And so I created a podcast. So first I need to find a name for the podcast. And actually, the topic, which is the second nihilism, is actually a principle in which I believe. And this is a topic that is really well suited for my Berserker project, which is a mindset project that I just posed for the moment. And since this Berserker project is actually an offer, I have a Berserker GPT who knows this offer. Okay. I have my own AI assistant that knows everything about this project, about this offer, about the product behind the offer. And I use this to find a name for the podcast. So here we are. Okay, Berserker GPT in Claude. Once again, what I did, I just explained the situation. I want to make a podcast that convey the value. And then I will ask several tasks to Berserker GPT. So for the title of the podcast, actually, I just used Berserker. So easy. Now I need to craft a description for a podcast, but let's face it, I don't know anything about podcasts. So what I did, I asked Perplexity here, Perplexity AI, and I told it that I needed an optimized copy template for podcast description. Okay. And it gave me this, which is very hard to understand. So I just said, do it in plain text with placeholder. And here I have my template for description of my podcast with hook, main body, closer. Okay. And guess what? I put the template in Berserker GPT with also the transcript of the podcast. To get the transcript of the podcast, you can use either Firefly, either Whisper by OpenAI, or in this specific case, I used Descript here. I use Descript. I just put the MP3 of the podcast and it created the transcript. Okay. Whatever. It says minor details here. So I put just the templates in here and then it crafted a first version. And then I give it some feedback because I found that some parts of the description was not very relevant and it improved it. And there is a character limitation, 600 characters, but I wanted something shorter. So I told it that there is a 400 characters limitation. And at the end, I got this beautiful description of my podcast. Okay. And so now I have the description of the podcast. So I have the name, the description. I need a thumbnail for the podcast. If you are in Creator Spotify, you need a thumbnail for the podcast. Here, very easy. I used Midjourney. So this is the picture I created with Midjourney. Actually, there are several versions here. But at the end of the day, I find that this one was cool. So I took this one. And then I use Canva here to create, like take the image, puts the name of the podcast. Okay. And I have my thumbnail for the podcast. Okay. Thumbnail, Berserker, Apostle of Surgical Rampage. That's the name of the podcast. And there is an episode here, but let's not go too fast here. So now I needed to create a title for the episode. Okay. And what I used is I used Notebook LM and I asked it to create the title of the podcast, but it's working in French because I think my Google account is in French. So no big deal here. I just asked to turn it in English and it offers several suggestions for the title of the episode. And then at the end, okay, some iteration here. And then at the end, I chose this one because I liked it. Okay. And then, of course, I need a description of the episode. So once again, I know nothing about podcasts. So I ask Perplexity here. I find and refine a template to describe the podcast episode. Okay, I need a template for the episode. It gave me the templates and I just used it once again in my Berserker GPT, like here. So actually, yeah, here, this is the template for the episode and it crafted the description of the episode. And I just uploaded the episode, which is this one here. If I go to the episode, this one. So the thumbnail, the title, and details here. You have the description of the episode following the template. Okay. And that's pretty much it. I'm done. Now, is the podcast good? Yeah, how can you tell? Not obvious. Guess what? You can listen to it, or maybe I will just put it at the end of this video so that you can listen to it. And actually, it's a good podcast. The theme And the way it's covered is very relevant. And if you want to be productive, if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to achieve, you should definitely listen to it because there are valuable insights in this podcast. Okay? So I hope you like it. It's a very nice workflow. I like it a lot. I may craft other episodes using the very same workflow. If you want to execute such workflow, or if you want to have access to this kind of tool, especially the AI assistant, you can join the CCGG community, which is it's there in school.com/CCGG. Oh, there is a new member here. And you will end up in the About page. You can see the beautiful thing we are doing here. And basically, you have access. If you join the community, you have access to similar workflows. You have access to done-for-you custom GPTs that actually are good. And if you want to craft your own custom GPT, I share my frameworks and my tool to craft outstanding custom GPTs for your own use cases. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Have fun. Bye.